This is Rachel, and the first thing I notice is, see this number 1 here. When I go down to download this, if I download it, it's ending in 2.1, and it should be ending with a .ma or a .mb. I am going to, I have to just guess what it is. I'm going to try .mb, and so I'm adding that extension on. And then let's see if that opens in Maya. Okay, it's not opening, so that tells me that more likely it is MA file. And yes, I want to change that, and then let's try again. So when you go to save it, File, Save, Scene As, if I change these, see how it's changing the extension there for me automatically. Just make sure you don't, remove that off the end when you go to save it, because otherwise it doesn't have the file extension. So somehow the name got changed, so the file extension was missing, and then it had to add it back in. So just for next time. Okay, yeah, this is looking a little bit differently. It looks like you started with a cylinder, whereas I believe I started actually with a cube on that one. And I think it gave it this more kind of rounded square shape, which you can see, from here. If you look at it, see how it's a little bit more kind of a cube shaped like that. If you look at these various images of that. So, but with the cylinder doesn't really give you that option. So I would definitely start with a cube on that one. And then here, this looks fine, except that I would have increased the number of divisions on your bevel because you still have the history here of the attribute editor open, which you can get from here or with Control A. I can actually change this after the fact, although this is a little risky. So sometimes that works well, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the rest of the history in there. And it looks like you have multiple bevels on this. See, I can see there's this poly bevel 8, poly bevel 7, poly bevel 6. So I'm going to start deleting these kind of after the fact. And again, this can be a little risky, especially if you do it out of order, it will screw up. But if I select that one and then hit delete, and then click on this, hit the select button, then hit delete. Okay, and I don't know what that one is. I don't know. So then I would just, just be really careful. You want to do it all in one go. Something's, oh, okay. So there's some not so good. So what you probably did at some point is you did some extra extrudes in here that created extra surfaces, but you didn't move it afterwards. So you have these kind of hidden flat surfaces. So you could try going through and deleting out some of these extrudes, but sometimes if you do mesh cleanup, and we should get some options. Oh, sorry, cleanup options here, and then that little option box on the side, that right there. And then scroll down and we check lamina faces, non-manifold geometry, and edges with zero length, clean up. And let's see if it's still doing that. No, it's not. So now I should be able to double click on this edge. I guess it doesn't want to double click on the edge, but that's okay because it's not doing that weird thing anymore. I think we're okay. There is also in the select there is contiguous edges. So if I have one edge selected, I can go contiguous edges, and that can just sort of speed up my selection. And then double click here, that's working. And here. And I guess, yeah, these inside ones as well. Jeez. Probably easier to select everything and deselect the ones you don't want on this one. But anyway, sort of the point is you want to do all your bevels at once. I suspect you had a problem with the bevels because of that extrude issue that I showed a minute ago. I definitely should have selected everything and deselected the ones I don't want, because this is taking longer than that would have. Okay, and then these corners, I'll do Control B for bevel, increase the segments, something like that. I think these are too big. I think you could go smaller on these guys. They just look very kind of big and fat. I'll make sure the pivot on those is centered. Modify center pivot. Where are we? There we are. Let's scale these down a bit. Move them back something like that. Still look kind of big to me. I don't know. Yeah, somehow this turned out a lot differently. I have a feeling you did this very different from how I did. So you started with a cube. I don't think I started with a cube. I think I started with a cylinder. So you might want to go back and look at the module on that one to just follow along. And again, oh, this is combined. I generally say don't combine unless there's a really compelling reason to do so. Like it's sort of one, oh, I didn't mean combine there, mesh separate. And it looks like you've just got some extra geometry going on here. It looks a little funny. I'm not sure. It looks like the extra ridge. Maybe you wanted that. Arms looking good. Outliner looks alright. Okay, yeah. And I think these feet, these are going to overlap behind the feet a little bit. You can scale them, but it sort of changes the shape of that roundness. So I would tend to go right mouse click, go to vertex for both of these, and then just select the back of the feet like so, and then kind of move it like that, and that way it maintains the same shape of the roundness on the bevel when you do that. Yeah, overall pretty good. Maybe a little narrow in this direction still, because I feel like this is more of a cube shape, meaning kind of this distance is going to be the same as that distance. So, and again, if you're going to increase that, I would select the verts and do it that way, because it maintains the shape of that bevel. That looks like more, but then you'll have to recenter all the stuff on the side, the arms, legs, feet, ears, all of that. Okay, a few things to fix, but overall okay.